Some people think that the IDF is responsible for civilian deaths at the Nova Music Festival, but that doesn't feel right. So let's review what we actually know and how we know it. First, those killed at the festival were definitely civilians. How do we know that? Because there's footage, lots and lots of it. And there's also plenty of survivor testimony. Second, was it the IDF? There are two reasons why the answer to that is a clear and resounding no. Let's review the elements of the claim which involves an Israeli military helicopter firing at civilians. It originally came from the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, which quoted an unnamed police official. The Israeli police later said that their investigation only focused on Israeli police activity that day, not what the IDF was doing. That would be like the NYPD investigating what the US military does. That just doesn't happen. But who lets facts get in the way of a good story, right? But we know helicopters were dispatched because the Israeli media has spoken to the pilots. There's footage of helicopters in the sky that day, and members of our own team heard helicopters in the sky. Propagandists then used this as definitive proof that these helicopters targeted Israeli civilians. But in fact, it was released by the IDF 2 days after the massacre, and what it shows is Israeli Apache helicopters engaging with Hamas. See, for context, 3,000, yes, 3,000 Hamas members crossed the border fence armed with grenades, guns, RPGs, explosive devices, and more. They essentially turned a music festival into a war zone within minutes. Allegations of friendly fire are just that. Allegations, a way to absolve Hamas of their sins. Despite proudly filming their savagery on October 7th and claiming credit for murdering Israelis, Hamas and their supporters are attempting to gaslight you into believing Israel murdered its own civilians as a pretext for starting a war.